Hello, welcome to Captain Dorja's Armory. This is Captain Dorja, and this is World of Tanks Beast Mode Part 2. You can see right here we're in the M18 Hellcat, Tier 6 American Tank Destroyer. Really, really good tank destroyer. Very, very fast, terrible armor. Really, really slow turning turret, really vulnerable to artillery, not a lot of hit points, but this thing's ability to just shift around the battlefield and its very, very powerful 90mm gun make the Hellcat one of the best Tier 6 vehicles in the game. I love the M18 Hellcat. I've recently rebought it probably a month ago, maybe a month and a half or so. I've just been really enjoying it. So I'm here in a Tier 6 battle in my M18 Hellcat on Redshire, and I really hate Redshire. It's a crappy map. Essentially, simply put, Redshire is a crappy map. But that doesn't mean I can't have a good game on it. So I'm going to take my Hellcat and I'm going to put its good speed to use immediately. And I'm going to rush into the Sector G4 area on this ridgeline, because with binoculars and a camo net, I can sit in this ridge in my Hellcat and be virtually safe. And camoed up in these bushes, my tank destroyer has good enough gun depression that with my gun slung over the side of the ridge, I can cover basically all of this area and like all of this area and just really be a devastating force. So here you can see there's well, you can't see him anymore, he's re-stealthed, but there's a Lux over there, and I fired a couple of blind shots at him. Retroactively speaking, I wish I hadn't. The Hellcat doesn't really hold that much ammo, and I actually, spoiler alert, I actually ended up running out of ammo and having to use my 5 APCR shells, which I keep premium ammo in the Hellcat for Tier 8 battles. Sometimes you just need to manage a frontal penetrating shot on like an IS-3 or something, and for situations like that, APCR is the only way to go. The Hellcat's gun for fighting Tier 6s is a monster with 240 damage per hit and 160 average penetration. But when you're fighting Tier 8s, that penetration is pretty low. So I finally got some damage in after putting one shot into the Lux, finally. I've put one hit into the enemy Jagdpanzer IV, and you can see last known positions of many, many enemy tanks. We have several camping the ridge in front of me, as you would expect, and several more down on the one line in that sunken road, which is also pretty common, totally expected. So enemy KV-1 spotted, and you can see we have side shots on him. So I'm unloading with this very powerful 90mm gun on this KV. He is totally defenseless, and he burns to death right before our shell lands. Now SU-85 spotted. SU-85's in the river. Take a shot at him, manage a critical for no damage, which is frustrating because I can almost one-shot an SU-85 with this tank. Now at this point I see this M4 Sherman, and I was thinking that he was closer to being in direct line of sight from me, and I really didn't want him to spot me. I was really afraid this Sherman would kill me, so I actually make a very dangerous move and roll out there to kill that Sherman. That was actually very, very dangerous, but I got away with it. If that SU-100Y had hit me, it could have killed me in one shot. So that was actually a pretty risky move, but I thought it was worth it. Basically, I was afraid that if I didn't kill that Sherman would be the death of me. So I felt that I had to make that move, and so I did it. Now here you can see me, I can see the turret of this Jumbo Sherman as he backs up. So I predict his motion and just lay my gun, wait for him to back up into my shot, and kill him. Enemy KV-1 driving in front of us, fire a blind shot at him. Don't know if we hit or not, but we have this SU-85 back here. He's down to one-shottable range. You can see that there's really nobody on my side of the map at all for friendlies. We've got a Hetzer and a T-25 back more close to our base, but I'm really the only person in an advanced position, and I'm really the linchpin of our defense right now. So this Jagdpanzer IV definitely just spotted me, But I put a big hit onto him, and he misses, and our Hetzer manages to finish him off. So, 2 kills. We know that we've done 1,200 damage so far, but I have no idea how much stealth damage we've done. There's a good hit to the SU-85, leave him on 4 health, reload, put a shot into his last known position, and get the kill. He was detracked. Not a lot of people at this tier have repair on their tanks, so it's pretty likely that he was still going to be tracked. So I fired the blind shot, and I was rewarded with the kill. Fired a blind shot at that KV-1. Doing a lot more blind shooting in this match than I realized. Initially, when I was playing it live, I didn't realize just how much I was firing blind. So we have the KV-1 in sight now. Tasty flank shots on a KV-1. M18 nom-nom-noms on KV-1 flank. So yeah, no problem whatsoever. We kill him. Now it's time to start attacking. Covenanter from the rear. Boosh. You can see we're down to our last standard AP round. The SU-100Y is spotted, and Box Tank is my number 1 threat at this point. So I stop to look around and see if I can get the Box Tank, get a hit on the Box Tank. But Box Tank is on the other side of the ridge. So it's time for me to move forward and support my Churchill Mark III. If that Box Tank shoots the Church III, the Church III will die. And I would really kind of like the Church III to still be alive. So I'm actually going pretty aggressive on this SU-100Y. At least I'm going to be going pretty aggressive on him. I'm just going to roll over this hill and derp the guy, pretty much come hell or high water. And bam, there we go. Kill shot onto him. There's the Top Gun. There's the enemy M18 Wolverine. He puts a shot into me, and you can see I'm forced to reload premium ammo. I thought about staying up there and just kind of having like a sniper fight with that guy, but with the enemy artillery still alive, I thought that might not be a great idea. There was a chance the arty might be able to shoot me, so I decided not to do that. Here we kind of play standoff a little bit. I don't want to go around the corner first, but it becomes obvious that the Wolverine isn't going to go around the corner either. So we both break contact. When I see the Wolverine breaking contact, when I realize what he's doing, I decide I'm going to go for it and engage. And fire 1 shot. He's down to 131 health. He puts 1 into me. He's going to be able to fire 2 for my 1, but that's not a problem because I will kill him with the shot that just bounced. Yeah, that bouncing shot right there almost cost me my life. But I managed to put the next shot through the Wolverine for the kill. So we're on 7 kills. We're flirting with Radley Walters medal. And that artillery has 280 hit points. It's possible that I could one-hit him, but it's not very likely. But I don't really want to wait. I didn't really want to wait for like a friendly to fire, because then I would have lost the Radley Walters almost for certain. The Wolverine commenting in chat that I was so lucky. And my counter to that, Wolverine, is that I wasn't lucky at all. I was unlucky. I was unlucky that an APCR shell bounced off an M10 Wolverine. I was unlucky that so many of my other shots that I had fired on low health tanks did stuff like only detract them. That should have been a Radley Walters medal, hands down. That should have been, honestly, really, if my shots had not sucked balls, that was probably the only Pools medal game I've ever had. But as you can see, I get the consolation prize of Top Gun. Normally I'd be excited about a Top Gun, but not when I had a match as monstrous as that and it just gets totally robbed. Like, I mean, look at this. 3 shots at an SU-85 with a Hellcat, and I'm not able to, I was able to kill him, but it took me 3 shots to kill that guy. Dude only has 340 health. I do 240 damage a hit. Anyway, good news is good news. We won that match. It was a pretty crushing win. Managed 3,624 experience doubled for the first win of the day, and 52,634 credits, plus the Top Gun. Sorting by damage, this is actually pretty awesome. I did 2,728 damage. Next highest guy on our team did 819. Only 2 guys. Basically, I killed everything, and these guys either mopped up or prepped the target. You can see the SU-100Y on the enemy team managed 1,400 damage. The arty got another excuse me, 1400. The Jumbo got some damage. That Wolverine got 400 of his or 500 of his damage to me right at the end of the match. So he basically didn't do anything until the very, very end, and he was lucky to get as much as he did at the very end. See that I fired 26 shots and I only managed 18 hits. 16 penetrations, but a lot of those penetrations were detracking shots. Still, though, 2,700 damage in a Hellcat, nothing to turn up your nose at. 24,811 credits profit, even with a 23,000 credit ammo bill, because I fired those premium shells. But I had to fire the premium shells because I ran out of standard AP. So, Radley Walters, you avoid me again, you heinous, nasty turd. But anyway, that was still a really good match, really, really fun. One of the most crazy Hellcat, well, I won't say crazy, one of the most one-sided Hellcat games I've ever played. I mean, if it had been like me and two other people by ourselves, as long as the enemy team thought there was 15 of us, we would have killed them all. So yeah, let's jump into our next battle and take a look at some real Beast Mode action, because this is Beast Mode Part 2. Alright, so for those of you who thought that the Hellcat battle and the AC-48 battle weren't Beast Mode enough for a video called World of Tanks Beast Mode, feast your eyes on this. T-110E3, Tier 10 American tank destroyer. This thing is armored like a friggin' battleship, and it's armed like the Death Star. Not quite, actually, but pretty daggone close. So, this tank features a 155mm main gun with 295 average penetration and 850 average damage. It also sports 305mm frontal armor, and its mantlet and upper plate are basically impregnable. Its front casement is very tough. Its lower plate is quite tough. And its commander's cupola, which is actually a frontal weak point. Yeah, that's like the strongest weak point I have ever seen. My T-54 with 200mm of penetration shows orange on that thing. My IS-7 shows orange on that commander hatch. Like, this tank defines armor. This is the best armored thing I have ever played in World of Tanks. And we're about to see just what this sucker can do. I haven't had this tank destroyer that long. I haven't played that many battles in it, but I really, really like it a lot. It's my second Tier 10 tank destroyer. My first one was the Jagdpanzer E100, which is also fun to play, and the decreasing numbers of artillery have made the Jagdpanzer E100 a lot less of a pain in the balls. Before, when you would queue up for a match and there would be, two Batshad Arties, a GWE, and a Object 261, and you were on Westfield or something, you just wanted to kill yourself. But you didn't have to kill yourself because the artillery was there to do that. But it's a lot better now. Now that, you're running into like one or two big arties per match, it's really made things like the Jagdpanzer E100 a lot more viable. So you can see I'm down here. I'm the only person on this entire road, so I'm not going to move forward really very much at all. I spawned a T-28 prototype, but I have a terrible angle on him. Very long-range shot, very, very small target profile. I'm not going to waste my time shooting at that. So I don't. What I do decide, though, is that I'm going to reposition where I'm sitting, because if you look on my minimap, this circle right here, that's the extent of my maximum view range, and this line right here is the extent of that's the max draw distance in the game. Those lines come from the XVM mod, the Extended Visualizations mod. Those are not normally present on the normal minimap, but they're present on the XVM minimap if you choose to enable them, and they're really useful tools about stuff like if you're trying to detect the enemy. It tells you where you're likely to detect them, things like that. It's pretty useful. And the reason why I chose to change my position was originally the way I was sitting. I wanted to try and snipe the enemies as they crossed right here, but looking on my map, I realized I didn't really have enough view range to do that, so I repositioned to be able to shoot enemies while they were here, but still detect them as they drove past right there. So initially I detected the enemy Tiger 2 and the IS-3 up in a really, really weird spot, and I put a big hit in the IS-3, and those two guys buggered off. And at that point, all I'd seen down on this road was a T-28 prototype and a couple of Tier 8s. Well, the T-28 prototype is also a Tier 8. So yeah, all I'd seen was a bunch of Tier 8s, and so I was like, oh, no problem, I'm going to attack. So I start rolling forward, and all of a sudden I spot Jagdpanzer E100 and E75, and that is a real game changer. Jagdpanzer E100, on average, will two-shot this thing. And an E75, if he can get around my flank, can just savage my tank. So there's the Jagdpanzer E100. I detrack him. That was a purposeful detracking shot. I did not want to shoot at that guy's lower plate. I wanted to track him in the open because we got an M4043 on our team, and I wanted that Artie to get some work. So I'm detracking the JPE. I fire another shot at the Jagdpanzer E100, and that time I wasn't certain if I was going for a detracking shot or a damaging hit. Like, I couldn't make up my mind, and so I ended up shooting the guy's upper plate, and it bounced. Right there, I just put a huge hit onto the T-28 prototype, and you can see I'm bouncing shots like there's nobody's business. There's so many enemies down here, I just need to start trying to get guns off the field. You can hear the sizzle of the heat shell from the Jagdpanzer E100. After bouncing two shots off my lower plate, he apparently decided that he needed to heat it up. So, I guess if 299 average penetration isn't enough for you to penetrate your contemporaries, you should probably just, use a completely overpowered, ridiculous pay-to-win ammo. I mean, that guy just halved my HP in one shot because he pulled out his credit card and swiped. So that drives me crazy. I don't care what you're shooting at with the Jagdpanzer E100. There is no reason. You have no. Let me just make this abundantly clear. You have absolutely no excuse to use high explosive anti-tank ammo on that vehicle. If you cannot utilize 299 average penetration effectively by skilled aiming, then I am sorry, you should not play this game. It's too difficult for you. And yes, this is sarcasm and this is condescension in my voice, because this game is actually pretty daggone easy. So, back to the battle at hand. I managed to put a shot through the upper casement of the Jagdpanzer E100. He was down at low health, and I just wanted to get his Doom Cannon off the field, because if he chose to heat it up and shoot me again, I would die. So, the enemy's pushing in close to me right now, and you can just see, look at the shots I've been bouncing just by angling the tank and using its thick armor. I've taken so many hits that the hit decals are actually resetting. The enemy Tiger 2 down there is he's either an idiot or he's a girl. And so he suicides, and I consequently report him. I report people for drowning themselves. If you can't beat me in a fight, especially a fight that was an unfair fight where there was 5 of you against me by myself, thou shalt not rob me of my XP. That Tiger 2's health belonged to me. It was my experience to earn by killing him, because he was not able to outplay me, and he decided that he was going to be selfish and he wasn't going to give me my just due. So he's been reported. There, you get 2 Crusades in one Beast Mode match. But anyway, Crusading aside, the T110E3 is the supreme Beast Mode tank that I've ever played. You can just march straight into the enemy with this thing. You're so heavily armored and you're so well armed that, it doesn't matter what you encounter, you can kill it. You can kill it without heat shells. and you can bounce their return fire all livelong day just by angling your tank. I mean, you saw the Jagdpanzer E100 bouncing his shells off me. He shot me like 4 times, and only one went through. You saw that E75 bounce multiple shots off my commander hatch. Now, what those guys should have done is the Jagdpanzer E100 and the T28 prototype, because the 28 prototype was slow. So the JPE and the T28 Prot should have engaged me frontally, while the Tiger II and the E75 just drove around my flank. If they'd just rushed me, it would have been decision time, and I would have been left with a very, very few choices. My choices would have either been to ignore an E75 and a Tiger II on my flank and hope that the 215B 183 backing me up could deal with them before they killed me, or I would have had to have turned my flank to a Jagdpanzer E100 and a T28 prototype in order to deal with them myself. Now, in the position that I was in, I might have been able to back up far enough that lump of rock partially shielded me from the JPE and the 28 Prot, but that would have only been partial shielding. They would have had side shots. So if those two heavy tanks had rushed me, I would have been dead, almost certainly. But the sheer brutality of this tank's gun and its just ability to just weather the storm with its thick armor just stymied them. They lost all their gonads, and they just sat in front of me and died. So for that match, that was doubled for the first win of the day. 3,282 experience, 78,588 credits. Managed to pull down a steel wall, no surprise there, and a sniper. Not much of a surprise there either. I was firing almost all at point-blank range. Quite a bit of damage done. We basically engaged these 4 guys all by ourselves, and with the possibility of that IS-3 showing up, and the possibility of a Pershing who was actually down there with us. But I have no idea where the Pershing went. You can see that we managed to pull down top damage in the on the team, 4,667. Actually, we got top damage in the match. We did about 150 more than the enemy's Foch. Was that a Foch 155? Yeah. So this enemy Foch 155 did only about 150 damage less than me, but still, out damaging a Foch 155. That's nothing. That's an accomplishment. This E5, he had a lot of damage too, and you can see the. Well, I say that I held those guys by myself. That is definitely not true. The 183 was there shooting stuff, and this Artie was. I mean, he pulled down 3,000 damage. He was obviously doing some work. Now, he could have been shooting targets on the other side of the map, but he was shooting those guys, at least some, because he was communicating with me about when they were in his range and not in his range, and I also saw his shells hitting stuff. So I say that I did that alone, but I didn't really do it alone. I did it with the help of this Artie and this 215B 183, the Hashmobile. So we had good games out of all 4 of us, and this IS-3, in a match like that, getting 1,700 damage in an IS-3, that's no laughing matter. I mean, he outdamaged some nasty tanks. T-57 Heavy, Batchat, Super Foch, IS-7. A lot of people snub their nose at the IS-7 and say it isn't a good tank, but the IS-7 has definitely still got it where it counts. It's just a little bit more skill intensive because it doesn't have such an overpowered gun as many of the other 210 heavies, and it relies on its armor a lot. And in this day and age, with big Arnie, big TDs, and a lot of heat shells, armor. Well, as you just saw in that last match, armor has still got it, but it doesn't always have it quite as much as you want. So you can see here, 12 shots fired, 12 hits, 10 penetrations. The 2 shots that I bounced were ones where I got a little indecisive about whether or not I wanted to shoot the upper plate or the lower plate of the Jagdpanzer E100, and I ended up shooting the upper plate by accident. And it's virtually impossible to penetrate the upper plate of a Jagdpanzer E100. So, yeah, I got 2 bounces. Still, though, I managed to put down 4,667 damage, received 16 hits, only 2 of them penetrated, and of those 2 penetrations, only 1 actually dealt damage. So we bounced 14 shots for a potential damage received of 7,520. Like, that is just off the chain. 78, 58, 78,588 credits received. Again, that's with the event on the NA server, so I got 30% extra credits for being top damage on my team. Managed a profit of 44,000, 3,282 experience. Just an all-around awesome match. I mean, the E3, its armor is so good that you can, like, it is the stuff that dreams are made of. If you like a heavily armored vehicle, T110 E3. That is all. So I hope you enjoyed these matches. I definitely enjoyed playing these matches, even though the occasional heat shell really, really just makes me want to reach through the internet and grab that player by the neck and strangle him for being a retard. Yeah, pretty harsh, I know, but I'm made out of harsh feelings, I guess. Anyway, I did have a lot of fun playing these battles. If you liked them, hit me up in the comments, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, whatever. I definitely like comments on YouTube. Feel free to send me emails at captaindorgesarmory@gmail.com. And until next time, guys, this is Captain Dorja with Captain Dorja's Armory. And just remember, you can never have enough big guns.